Hey guys, Paradoxial here. Today we are on part 7 of our Python series, and in this video we are going to go over lists and what we can do with them. Before we get into lists in Python, I do want to apologize for uploading so late. Unfortunately, over the past 7 days I've just got very caught up and, all tangled with school and work, so I wanted to make sure I get all that taken care of before I make another video. I do apologize about it, but hopefully in the near future I can get onto a more defined upload schedule. But with that out of the way, what are lists? Lists are one of the 4 built-in data types for Python, the other 3 being set, tuple, and dictionary. Now, to create a list, all you need to do is just make a variable and set it equal to these open and closing brackets. Now, of course, you can put things in there, or you can leave them empty, which is a neat thing. You can have it set to nothing, or equal to nothing at the moment. That is a neat thing with lists. And another neat thing with lists is we can have it set to multiple different items to a single variable. In other words, you can have one variable set to like 10 different things in your program. That is a neat thing about lists. Anyways, we're going to go over the following methods with lists. We're going to go over append, clear, count, lint, and insert, remove, and sort. I also have these posted on the middle of the screen here. Anyways, to go ahead and put things in your lists, all you have to do is just type in something, so string, and if we want to add something else, we can just make a comma and then put a number in, or all that good stuff, anything you want, basically. Excuse me. Now, I already have 4 lists created, just because I didn't want to really spend so much time making them in a video. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste them in here. Now, as you can see, this list right here has nothing. This one has strings, apple, banana, cherry. This one has numbers 1, 6, 34, 3.12, 144, and -87. And this one is mixed with strings, numbers and floats, and Boolean statements. Each thing that you have in this list is an element, and the elements are separated by the commas, as I've just said a few seconds ago. Now, to actually do things with your lists, I am going to use all of these methods that I have just talked about not too long ago, starting with the append method. Now, the append method basically adds another element onto your list. So we're going to use my list as an example since it has nothing in it. So if we were to just print my list, like right now, as you can see, it's just going to print the list that has nothing in it. But if we were to go before the print my list, so just go a line above print my list, and just type in my list.append. And if we were to add just 1, add it in there, we now have 1 inside of our list. Now, what if we want to add something else into it? So I'm going to go ahead and do my list.append and then 2. Now we have 1 and 2 added to our list. Now, you can do this with any of your lists, of course. You can add the floats, or the strings, the integers, or your Boolean statements like true or false. And you can even add other variables in there as well. So that's pretty much it for the append method. All it really does is just add something at the end of your list. Other programming languages like C# does the same thing. I think it's just .app instead of append like Python, but it does the same thing in there as well. Now, let's look at clear. Now, can't really use my lists because it has nothing in there, but we're going to use the numbers list. So like I said, I'm going to go ahead and print it. As you can see, it prints out all the numbers or elements that are inside that list. Now, if I were to type in numbers.clear and then run it, it basically puts in the output the list as if it had nothing in it, because I have cleared everything that was inside that list. Pretty simple. Now, what if we want to count how many elements are inside a list, but we don't really want to, per se, like count manually? Well, all you have to do now is go inside your print function, type in len, and then parentheses again, and then just the name of our list, numbers. Now, of course, I already know it has 6 elements, but if we print this right here, len numbers, it's going to output the amount of elements that are inside that list. Now, if I want to do this with a mix that only has 5 elements, run it again, it will print out 5. Print out the len of my list, it should print out 0. Pretty neat, right? Now, what if we want to insert something in our list? Well, just like the append method, insert adds something to your list, except you can add it to a certain area of your list. So if I wanted to add something between apple and banana, all I need to do is type in strings dot insert. So the index of the list is basically the, I suppose, a row or column that your object or element is in. So apple is in the 0 row, while banana's in the 1 row, cherry's in the 2. So we're gonna put it in 1, I believe. I think is how we would do it. And we're just gonna type in oranges or orange. Now, if we print strings, it should put orange between apple and banana. Yep, and as you can see, it put orange between apple and banana. So now we have apple, orange, banana, cherry in our strings list, even though when it's defined, it doesn't already include orange, but now we have made it include orange in that one spot. Now, if I wanted to put it in a second spot between banana and cherry and run it one more time, it'll put orange between banana and cherry. Another thing to keep in mind with your indexes is that they start from 0. So the first one that you see inside your list, the very first one is actually 0, while the second is 1, the third is 2, the fourth is 3, and so on. Now, let's say we want to remove something from your list. So let's say we don't want cherry in our list anymore. We just want apple and banana. So if I were to go ahead and type in remove, and then we're going to type the value. Now, if I'm not mistaken, we would type in the index that it's in. So if I put 4 in there, okay, so it's not the index, it is actually the element itself. So I'm going to type in cherry. And as you can see, when we print out the strings list, it no longer includes the cherry element because we have removed it from our list before printing it. Now, if we were to put the print function before the remove or anything that changes your list, if we were to print the list out before we do anything to it, it'll just print the list as if we've done nothing to it, because it reads your code from top to bottom. That is something you need to know with all programming languages and just coding in general. Now, let's say we want to sort our list from greatest to least or least to greatest. To do that, we'll be using the sort method. So we have a bunch of mixed numbers in here. Now, if we were to just type in numbers.sort, but nothing has to go in it, and then print numbers, As you can see, it'll print -87 because it's smaller than 1, and then 3.12 because it's larger than 1, and 6 because it's larger than 3.12, 34 because it's larger than 6, and 144 because it's larger than 34. So it prints from least to greatest using the sorts method. Now, this is very good if you want to make a leaderboard. However, you'd want to figure out a way to make it print from greatest to least, since it does print top to bottom, which we're about to go over here soon on how to do that. Now, let's say you just want to print that list, do nothing to it, leave it as is, and you want to print it. As you can see, it prints out this very ugly format for our list. What if we want to print like everything in a nice, neat, top to bottom format? I'm going to show you an example is by using run and cmd. Now if I were to just type in pip and then wait for everything to load, we have this list of commands that are popping up right here. That is basically what I was talking about essentially. Now what if we want to make a command-based program and we want to list our commands from top to bottom in a nice, neat, easy to read format? To do that, basically what we're going to put in our code is for values in numbers. Then we're going to put a colon and print values. So essentially what this is doing is it's looking into the numbers list, but also defining each element as values, which is why we're printing values and no longer printing numbers, because we only want to print each element rather than the whole list in general. So now if I go ahead and run this code, as you can see, it prints everything from top to bottom. Pretty cool, right? Now, of course, if you want it to be sorted, like if you're making a leaderboard for a game or something like that, of course you can still use numbers.sort. And then doing that should sort everything from least to greatest. Although for some weird reason it's not including -87. It's including it as 1. But you get the idea. Actually, I am curious on why that is doing that. Maybe if I put the code up here, that line, and then run it. Okay, yeah, now it works as intended. So yeah, you get the idea. It, you can make it print from top to bottom in a nice, neat, readable format. A thing to always remember when making things with lists is just ask yourself, how would I want to read this? Or what would be easy for me and everybody else to read if I was presenting this? Of course, you would probably think, okay, I should print it out like this so it's easy to read and not so weird looking whenever you just print the whole list in general. While when doing that, it just prints the whole list with the brackets and commas, whilst using that for loop prints the actual elements. Is basically all you need to know. Again, for the for loop, all we have to do, actually I'm gonna get rid of that first because we don't really need it. All you have to do is just type in for, and then whatever you want to call your element. This can be elements, values, num. A lot of people like to do for I and range. However, I don't really do that because I don't think you're supposed to use it for lists, but I do see a lot of people using I and range. However, for just printing out lists, this is what I do. And yeah, pretty neat. Anyways, that's just about it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and again, I am sorry for uploading very late recently. However, I am going to try my hardest to get back on a set upload schedule. Thank you guys so much for watching, and you have an amazing day. Bye-bye.